For weeks, murmurs had crawled through backstage corridors, anonymous forums, and encrypted fan circles. Rumors of a suppressed video, a file so dangerous that anyone who mentioned it publicly vanished from the conversation within hours. But now the digital floodgates have broken. A mysterious clip, labeled only YML, A13, MOV, appeared on a dark mirror site at 3:12 a.m., and within minutes, screenshots were circulating everywhere. The footage, allegedly recorded during what should have been a standard medical examination, shows something far more chilling. A body that should not exist, wounds that defy the official story, and a team of silent figures who appear more like handlers than doctors. What makes it even more disturbing? Everything in this leaked footage lines up with the strange incidents previously surrounding Menglong, his disappearance, the attempted rescues, the contradictions from his management, and the eerie sightings of him that never matched how he looked before. The autopsy room is dim, lit not by typical surgical lamps, but by a cold industrial bluish glow that gives the scene the feel of a covert military lab. The camera is positioned at an angle, as if hidden, shaky, slightly blurred around the edges, as though whoever filmed it did so in fear. Menglong's body lies still on a metal table, but not peacefully. His wrists show marks resembling restraining straps, the kind used in high-security psychiatric wards or interrogation facilities. Along his ribs, faint discoloration forms patterns, almost symmetrical, like imprints from precise, repeated pressure, as though someone had pressed a device into him again and again. The gloved figure at the table doesn't speak until 6 minutes into the footage. Their voice is distorted, filtered, almost mechanical. He didn't die from natural causes. This was engineered. Those 7 words detonated the internet. Immediately after the statement, the figure lifts a sheet from Menglong's torso, revealing what fans quickly nicknamed the geometric wound, a triangular series of cuts that look too perfect, too deliberate, to be injury or accident. Each line is straight, almost ruler-sharp, as if drawn with a blade designed for precision. But the most disturbing moment comes at the 11-minute mark. The examiner lifts something metallic from beside the body, a thin, needle-like tool, and gently presses it against the wound. The tissue reacts. It moves. Not like muscle twitching. No. This looks almost responsive, as if something beneath the skin recognizes the instrument. The examiner immediately pulls back. "We told them this would happen," the voice whispers. "We warned them the body wouldn't stay stable. They refused to listen." What does that mean? Who is they? And what exactly was unstable? The footage abruptly cuts to static, but the audio continues. A door slams. Someone shouts, "Get out of there." Then footsteps. Rapid, panicked, before the video ends with a single, clipped breath. Within an hour of its appearance, thousands of users reported their re-uploaded versions being deleted without warning. Comments vanished. Entire accounts were shadow-blocked. Streams discussing the clip went offline mid-sentence. But the damage was already done. Fans began connecting details. The strange burns spotted on Menglong months before he disappeared. The handlers seen escorting him away during an award show, claiming he was just tired. The way his voice had changed in his last live stream, deeper, strained, like someone recovering from trauma or sedation. And the biggest clue, the repeated claims that he was in a safe place, even though no one, not even close friends, had seen him. This leaked footage contradicted everything. And it raised a new question no one had dared to voice until now. Was the Menglong the world saw in his final months even the real one? Some viewers claim the facial structure in the autopsy didn't perfectly match older footage. The jaw a bit sharper, the cheekbones slightly raised, the skin tone paler. Others insist it was him, just brutalized and medically altered beyond recognition. A few believe something darker, that the body shown was not the original Menglong at all, but a reconstruction, someone engineered or forcibly modified to look like him. A stand-in, a replacement, a manufactured illusion. Whatever the truth is, the autopsy footage shattered the illusion that Menglong simply suffered some tragic private event. This was calculated, hidden, controlled by hands that knew exactly what they were doing. A forensic specialist who reviewed the leaked clip anonymously stated, Those wounds were inflicted with purpose. Not torture, not accident, procedure. Someone was studying him, not eliminating him. That single analysis sparked a firestorm. Because if the footage is real, then it doesn't just reveal how Menglong died. It reveals what he was turned into and why someone wanted that transformation erased. And now that the world has seen even a fraction of what was hidden, one thing is clear. This was never just a simple tragedy. This was a covert operation, a cover-up, a manufactured ending. And the leaked autopsy footage is only the first crack in the wall. The real truth, whatever it is, has not just leaked. It has escaped, and there's no way to silence it again. The leaked footage alone was horrifying, but what came after? What investigators and underground digital archivists uncovered when they slowed the file down frame by frame, unlocked an even darker dimension of the truth. The original video had been too fast, too shaky. But once stabilized, the room became clear enough to analyze, and something previously unnoticed came into view. Symbols. On the far wall behind the metal examination table, half hidden by shadows, were faint chalk-like markings. Not letters. Not numbers. Symbols, arranged in a precise arc. Fans described them as ritualistic, medical, or geometric, depending on which zoomed screenshot they studied. But one thing was certain, they were not random scribbles. They framed Menglong's body like the border of a classified diagram, as though whoever recorded this footage was not just examining a corpse, but executing a procedure that required a coded system. When the light flickered, briefly, for less than a second, one of the symbols glowed faintly. Not reflected light, not camera glare. It glowed. This was the first clue that the autopsy room was not a normal medical space. Then viewers noticed something even more disturbing. This was not the first time Menglong's body had been examined. Across his torso were faint sutures, some old enough that the skin had healed over them in uneven, erratic patterns. The scars didn't match any publicly known surgery he ever had. They traveled from his left collarbone down across his ribs, ending near the curve of his hip, all too precise, too straight, the kind of incision lines associated with experimental procedures, not emergency ones. The footage revealed another chilling detail. At minute 5:14, before the examiner even spoke, Menglong's fingers moved. Not a full twitch. Not muscular flinching. A subtle contraction, like the reflex of a sedated patient. Like the body did not fully accept that it was dead. Internet analysts slowed the clip to 0.25 speed. In this decelerated version, the movement was unmistakable. The index finger curled inward, then released. But the examiner did not react. It was as if they expected it. As if the body's involuntary responses were a normal part of whatever procedure they were conducting. This revelation transformed the public's understanding. The leaked autopsy footage was not a straightforward investigation into his death. It suggested ongoing manipulation, possibly even reanimation attempts, performed by individuals who knew exactly what they were working with. More anomalies surfaced when the background audio was cleaned by acoustic specialists. Hidden beneath the static were voices, distant, hurried, layered, as if spoken in an adjacent room but captured faintly through vibration. One voice whispered, "It's returning." Another answered, "Not yet. Stabilize the matrix first." What matrix? Returning from what? What were they stabilizing? This was no autopsy. This was containment. The more the footage was studied, the clearer it became that this wasn't a team trying to uncover the cause of death. They were trying to control whatever remained inside Menglong. At minute 9:43, the examiner's posture shifted. They leaned in as though listening to something emanating from the body, not from speakers, not from devices, but from Menglong himself. Though the video's microphone struggled to capture sound, enhanced digital cleaning revealed a faint resonance, something like a low hum, almost vocal but distorted, like a voice trying to speak through layers of water. The examiners stepped back sharply. "It's beginning," they muttered in the distorted voice filter. This moment became the most debated among viewers. Some believed it was evidence of nerve memory, the post-mortem phenomenon where dying cells release electrical signals. Others believed it proved something far more sinister, that the entity or consciousness inside Menglong's body Whatever had been changed, manipulated, or implanted was attempting to reassert itself. Then came the most shocking moment in the entire continuation of the clip. The examiner lifted the triangular incision flap, revealing not muscle tissue, not typical organs, but thin metallic filaments, woven into the flesh like threads of silver. They pulsed faintly. They moved independently of the examiner's touch. Fans dubbed them living wires, though specialists claimed they could be microprobes or artificial neural lines. But those who watched the footage repeatedly insisted something undeniable. This was not a natural body anymore. This was not the original anatomy he was born with. Someone had modified him. The question that haunted everyone: why? At the 12-minute mark, right before the footage ended in chaos, the camera caught a reflection on a stainless steel tray. In that reflection stood two more figures behind the one conducting the examination. They were motionless, observing, wearing no identification. Dark silhouettes. No faces. No badges. No medical tools. Observers. Or supervisors. As the tension in the room escalated, one of the figures lifted a device, a black rectangular piece of equipment with a red blinking light. The examiner saw it and immediately froze. "You're early," they whispered, almost trembling. One of the silhouettes replied with a voice that felt electronically altered. "We can't risk another shift." Another shift. The phrase sent theories spiraling. Was Menglong's body in a state that could transition into something else? Had they been experimenting with phases of consciousness? Were they studying temporal biological changes? Or, most terrifying, were they preventing something inside him from fully awakening? The room darkened suddenly as the device was activated. A loud vibration shook the metal table. Menglong's torso arched, as if pulled upward by invisible strings. The wires embedded in his tissue lit up in streaks of white-blue light. Then came a sound no one could explain. A sharp, low-frequency roar, like metal grinding against bone, like electricity cracking through flesh. The examiner shouted, "Not now." "It's unstable," and the silhouettes stepped forward. The video cut out at that exact moment. But a final frame, almost subliminal, remained burned into the digital residue of the file, Menglong's eyes opening. Not fully, not humanly, just a sliver, enough to reveal that the once soft brown irises had been replaced by something glassy, reflective, and unnervingly alive. A faint glow, as though he was seeing again, as though he had been waiting, as though the procedure had awakened something no one was prepared to face. And the world knew then, without room for doubt. Menglong had not simply died. He had been transformed, manipulated, reconstructed, and the autopsy was not an ending, but the middle of an experiment too dangerous to remain hidden. The leaked footage wasn't meant to expose a corpse. It was meant to expose the truth. And the truth was far more horrifying than anyone imagined.